I know I perform a lot better the days that I do, even if it's just smashing out 20 or 40 push-ups in the morning, like just before you get going.
And that's why I like doing PT before you get into your day. Like, I really want to push people to do things properly so they don't, like, I don't want people to get injured, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for me, I like the structure. I like pushing myself because it doesn't take much, does it, to get fit?
No, some squats, push-ups, planks. If you just do that, you're going to improve your health.
G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of Level Up. We are back in the shed this afternoon for another cracking episode. Bear with us today. We do have a little bit of work going on outside, so there may be a few beepers from reversing trucks and a bit of noise going on, but it's a construction podcast, so it is what it is. All right, so today it's something a little bit different. So I've set myself a challenge to get fit and get back into shape, and I've teamed up with this awesome young fella that we've got here with us today, Justin from JMW Health and Fitness. And I wanted to get Justin on because he's got a pretty good story. He's been in the army, he's done his apprenticeship through the army, he's a fitter and turner, and he's had all sorts of injuries, which have led to depression and a few other things. And he now spends a lot of his time helping veterans and people like myself get into shape. So welcome, mate.
Yeah, cheers. It's good to be here.
So just to give everyone a little bit of background, so my wife Camille goes to a local gym near us, and I've been humming and hawing about getting a personal trainer for a very long time. I'm definitely not a gym person. I can't think of anything worse than going in a gym and standing in front of everyone else and trying to do some exercise.
Yeah.
But the trainer that she works with said, hey, you should get in contact with this young fella. He's doing good things. So reached out. We had a meeting and now we're into it.
Yeah, no, it's been good. Yeah.
So, what was I was only with you for about bloody 3 weeks, mate, and then I've cut my bloody
before you
finger off.
had your little mishap. But yeah, we're back getting into it now, and it's good that your finger's handling, like being able to lift stuff and everything. So yeah, no, it's been good.
Well, it's been good. Like, you're very accommodating. Like, even yesterday doing the deadlifts, like, you had the strap there, and we strapped it to my wrist and took a bit of pressure off the finger. But I'm keen to talk about that as well, because I've been talking about it pretty openly on my socials. Like, the doctors and stuff told me to basically lay on the land and have 3 or 4 weeks off and just take it easy. And like, I'm very aware of who I am, and like, I've very openly spoke that I've dealt with depression, anxiety, and those types of things. And I know that if I had taken their advice and just, even if I tried to sit in the office and do a bit of work and if I just sit around, I would have got stuck on social media, watching YouTube, just wasting time, and I would have gone down a rabbit hole really quickly.
And it's so hard to get back into it after you go do that as well. So it's good to just like, oh yeah, sweet, gonna keep rolling on and get back into it, even if it's at a lesser, like a limited like ability. But getting back into it and still getting movement. Yeah.
Operation on the Sunday, and then luckily it was long weekend. Had the Monday off, and then I was straight back driving around sites, checking on things on the Tuesday, and then had 2 weeks off and come back. Yeah. Doing stuff with you, and you've been accommodating, working with it, and adjusting the exercise to work with it. So that's been good. But mate, tell us a little bit about yourself. So you were in the army for what, 11 years?
Yeah, just under 12 years. I was joined in 2012, and then went to Albury Wodonga to do the training. I was there for about eight or so months, and then when I was down there, my dad died, so I got a posting straight back up to Townsville, and I originally joined the army to get out of Townsville and spent the next 7 years there. Yeah. And then posted down to Brisbane 2020, so COVID year. Yeah. And then been here ever since.
Yeah.
So.
And then, so in your, is going to the army something you wanted to do?
My dad was in the army for 20 odd years. So I was I was born in Brizzy, moved to Toowoomba, moved to Townsville, moved to Melbourne, back to Brizzy, back to Townsville. And then he got out when I was about 12 years old. And like, basically I always was really keen on the army. But I had an apprenticeship going out of school, so a school-based apprenticeship. So I got to take a day off school every Tuesday and go work as a first-year fitter and turner apprentice.
Yeah.
And then I just went straight into that. And then once I finished my apprenticeship, I still wanted to join the army. So I joined the army I was 20 when I joined the army.
So was your apprenticeship through the army?
So I did my apprenticeship originally outside of the army, and then I joined the army as a fitter as well.
Yeah.
But I had to go down to Albury to do just the specific army courses, like weapons courses and stuff like that, like the maintenance on like specific army equipment.
Yeah.
So my time in Albury was cut a lot shorter. So I got a lot of RPL through that. Plus I got the Cert 4 on top of the Cert 3.
Is it interesting? Like I always see all the big trucks and shit drive around. I think, man, like they always got the best gear. It'd be awesome just to go out and do training in the bush. Yeah,
my first posting was at 5AV. So up in Townsville where they've got the Chinooks, and they had Black Hawks at the time, but then they've got the MRHs. But my job was to be on call for maintenance because they have miniguns on them. So I got to go up in the Chinooks and fly around while they were shooting miniguns out the sides, and like I got to do some pretty cool stuff. Yeah. Never got to shoot a minigun, which was always a.
What's a minigun?
So the 6-barrel.
Like
six barrels like spins and shoots 3,000 rounds a minute. So it would have been awesome to be able to shoot one, but never got the opportunity.
Yeah.
And then I went to 3RAR after that, and we got to go out with all the grunts and do all of the field work and just as support for them. So they'd go out, do all their infantry tactics and all that stuff, and we just support them if they're the carriers, like that AS4s broke down or something like that. There was a crew of, it'd be like a recovery mechanic, a vehicle mechanic, a fitter, an electrician, and a boffin. So a 5-man team in 2 carriers. Yeah. So we just fix everything basically on the run. Yeah. Sometimes you go, oh, yep, sweet. We got 2 hours to get in and do some maintenance. And then 10 minutes later, they're like, all right, we're going now. And you're like, I've got this thing pulled apart. I thought I had like an hour to put it back. And then you just got to quickly chuck stuff back together and get in the car or get in the truck and you're off again. But but it was really good. Like I loved it when I was fit and young and like I was able to do everything. I absolutely loved my time in the army. Yeah.
I imagine it's obviously very structured, isn't it? Like everything's a routine and following orders and timed very well. So like, has that structure helped you in other areas of your life?
Definitely. Yeah, like particularly with like PT, like one thing you did every morning, you do PT before you start work, which I think is like one of the best things about the army, because you get in, you do PT, and you've already achieved something in the day before you start work. Yeah. So, and on the days where you don't have PT, everyone's sort of a bit sluggish and it takes them a bit to get going, you know what I mean? So I think that's one thing that I really got out of the army, was that like doing something at the start of the day to get into the rest of your day kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's part of the reason I wanted to get you on, because like with the training and stuff I do in the industry now, and even just myself, like I know I perform a lot better the days that I do, even if it's just smashing out 20 or 40 push-ups in a morning, like just before you get going, like just getting that blood pumping. Yeah. Bit of like obviously your breath gets harder while you're exercising. Yeah. Just makes you get through the day better.
Yeah, and like you start your week now with 5:30 in the morning. You start your week with a PT session.
So flog me, so that's but like, I love it. Like it's fun. Like I've got to a point now in my businesses and life and that, like I don't, like every day's the same. I don't the day before I don't worry about going to work. Like there's no, oh, it's Friday, awesome, it's a weekend, or oh shit, it's Monday, it's back to work. Like, but so I've got to that level in life that a lot of people dream about, where you get to and just every day's a day and you do whatever needs to be done. Like, and that's because I absolutely love what I do, and because we've worked very hard to get a lot of systems, processes, and structure and those types of things. But now that I'm working out with you, like I have been getting to Sunday afternoons and going, fuck, I got to go and see him in the morning.
Yeah,
but it's good. But even and yesterday afternoon, like, because we do some afternoon sessions as well. Like I was running 10 minutes late yesterday. I had a meeting go over the client. Like I'm stuck in traffic, and I'm like, oh shit, I'll just text him and say I'm not going to come in today. But
Yeah.
then I get there and do it, and you feel fantastic.
Yeah. And so many times I have people come in to do a session with me, and they're like, oh, I feel pretty shitty today. And you're like, oh, sweet, we'll get into it anyway. And afterwards they're like, oh, awesome. Like, I feel 100% better than I did when I rocked up. And that's why I like, as I said before, the doing PT before you get into your day. Like, it does, if you're a bit sluggish in the morning in the army, if you're a bit hungover in the morning, you just sweat it out, and then you can hit the rest of the day and feel heaps better.
So, like, one of the reasons I want to get you on, because it's something that I've known I needed to do more of for a long time, and like the last couple of years I have been doing more just on my own, walking with some mates, smashing the push-ups in the morning. But like I've seen in the, like, I don't know what it's been, 2 or 3 months, maybe 2 months, 3 months.
Yeah, two and a bit months, yeah.
Just coming with you, like, so the only other times I've ever tried this is, like, I did the usual thing that everyone does, like 3 months before our wedding. Camille and I both joined personal trainers and smashed it out for a little while. But man, I hurt my back more in that 3 months than ever. Like, it was, I don't know, like, there was never any guidance on technique or anything. It was just like, keep push. Put more weight on, push.
I think, because I have had injuries, and I like have like knee issues, back issues, shoulder issues. So I really want to push people to do things properly so they don't, like, I don't want people to get injured, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've had some other clients that have hurt themselves, and I'm like, all right, sweet, we'll do some like rehabby kind of stuff. Like, I'm not an expert on the rehab side of things, but all I know is basically what physios have told me to do when I've had the same or similar injuries. And and then after I tell someone that, I go to the physios at work. I'm like, hey, I told someone that, like, this would probably help or something like that. They're like, oh, yep, sweet, that's pretty much what I would have told them. I'm like, oh, cool. So at least I'm on the right track with a lot of things.
Well, I just like the way you structure it with the sets, and then like each week we're building up to more weight, more sets, and then we'll drop, like you said, we'll drop back, or we've just started dropping back. Like, we've got 12 sets, now we're back to 10 sets, but we're doing more weight.
Yeah.
So I like the structure.
Yeah,
like,
and it's like, I think that's something that a lot of people will, then they go to the gym and they don't have either a trainer or a plan. They go, oh, I'm just going to go in and I'll do this, and then they don't really see any progress, and then they stop going to the gym. Whereas if they just had a program to follow, they'd be way more better off, because they have a structure and like progression. So
it's definitely the structure, I think, for me. And then just having you there, like you've pulled me up a few times on like push your bum out, straighten your back up, like just having that guidance so you're not hurting yourself. Like, I haven't come away from yours once. Like, I've been sore, but no sore back or put me back out or anything like that. But it's and I don't know if it's because I've gotten older and more mature or whatever, but I take it on board now when people tell me stuff. So if you're the expert, you're the one doing it, so give me the guidance, and I'll do, like, the one thing, like I've said to you, I just want you to push the shit out of me, like push me along. So I'll put it out there now on the podcast, because we've spoken about it, but the reason I've started with Justin is another builder I know at one of our builders breakfast groups said to me he was going to do this 36-hour challenge. What was it called?
It's through the mill gym. It's a like a gym in Perth that's run by a bunch of like, I believe they're ex-SAS soldiers. Yeah.
And I watch all those.
Them at all, but I've heard of the gym and everything, and I've heard of the challenge as well.
And he's like, I'm going to do this. Do you want to do it? And I got online and looked it up. I was like, holy shit, no way in the world I'm ready for that. Like this, because that was in May. I need to ring him actually and see if he's done it. And that was about 2.5 months ago. But I thought, fuck it, like, why not set a goal to do it next year? Yeah. So, like, I like pushing myself. Like, like, you watch those shows on TV and you see what they push people to do, like the Summit and that SAS Australia, whatever it is, and like, I want to push myself. So that's why I'm with you, mate. Sweet. I want you to push me along. So, mate, tell us a little bit more about the Army. So you had some injuries in the Army, which led to depression and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
and I think that it's pretty common. Like obviously there's a lot of it in the construction industry, but there's a lot of it in the army as well, isn't there?
Yeah. So all of my injuries are from just overuse. I did a lot of pack marching in my own time because of like my goals at the time, and I did a lot of weighted running. I was doing a lot of running. I was doing a lot of, like, as I said, pack marching, and it's not good for your knees, hips, back. And I just got a lot of overuse injuries, so like bulging discs on my back and some facet joint issues, and like cartilage in my knees, just a bit damaged. So basically, I went from being like one of the fitter dudes in all the units I was at to being unable to participate in PT, unable to do my job as a fitter, which is a physical job, like pulling stuff apart, welding, fabricating stuff. And like, it just destroys you mentally when you just get like something that you like love doing. I loved doing my job and I loved PT, and I couldn't do either of them to a standard that was my standard anymore. And yeah, like, just destroyed me, and I went down a rabbit hole. Eventually, like, my wife like pulled me up on it, and I went to the psychs on base and said, look, I'm not good. And yeah, started seeing psychologists and stuff, and from there, basically I was already on trying to get out of the army voluntarily. And then through that process, it was decided that I should be going medically instead because of my injuries and the mental, like, depression. And so that process started, and then it took me like 2 years to get out of the army. So when I was stuck in limbo, if you know what I mean, it just kind of made my mental health situation worse, because I wanted to be out. I wanted to be doing something else, but I was just kind of treading water until the cogs of the army done their thing. And
so how did you, like, when you say you're going down a rabbit hole, because like, if you're open to talk about it, because that's like, I've talked about some of the times and like what I went through, but I think for people listening, because a big part of this podcast is letting people know that they're not on their own.
Yeah.
And like, there's a lot of people that deal with anxiety and depression and all those types of things. So what was it like looking back? Like, was there signs that you were going down the rabbit hole? Like,
I think at work I was very forgetful of things, and I was like, really simple tasks that normally would be like, I wouldn't even think of, they'd just get done. I was forgetting things. I was I wasn't like able to perform to a standard, like just doing my job. Yeah. And I was drinking a lot more. So that was another thing, which like exacerbates everything, like drinking. And it's very, like, drinking's very insidious. It can start slow and eventually gets to a point where you're drinking every night, and it's not good for anyone. Yeah. So there was those two things. I was, and I think a lot of men do this. They like keep everything inside, like put a happy face on and like, yep, everything's fine. And then I kind of internalize everything a lot. So I was, just kind of in my own head, and I'd snowball, and I was sleeping really bad. Wasn't sleeping, which exacerbates it again, just causes more stress, starts arguments with my wife and stuff over nothing. It's just kind of just weasels its way into you. Yeah,
but it's like, it's good, like, it's hard going through it, but it's great when you've let it out, isn't it? Like, when you get to a point, like, I don't know if it was a point that your wife pulled you up on or whatever, but I know when I got to a point where I was like, all right, I'm going to start talking to people about it. Yeah. It's like all of a sudden there's this big weight off your shoulders, and it's actually normal. Yeah. Like, it's okay to talk to people. Yeah. Yeah.
It took ages, and I think it's only been in the last probably year that I've actually kind of understood mental health better. Because I think prior to that, I was in the mindset of, oh, you'll be right. Like you'll be right, just harden up kind of thing, like saying that to myself.
Yeah.
But I also thought that of other people with mental health issues. So I think it's hard when you haven't experienced something to like understand it, which now I do understand it because I've been dealing with it, and now I can empathize better with people that like are having issues and stuff like that, and see signs and stuff like that better. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's awesome, mate. And then like, so you've managed to, like, you're not in the army anymore. You've now got your own personal training business and getting all that sort of stuff. But like, did the army help out with like rehab and like getting you back on track and that sort of stuff?
Yeah. So when I was in the army, I was seeing physios, seeing doctors, had surgeries and stuff like that. And then like DVA, I've had like medical. All my medical bills are all paid for through DVA now. So like they do support you in that way, and so like mental health services are readily available as well.
Yeah. And you're sweet now from your ops and stuff? Like,
still got my left knee particularly plays up, my back's still playing up. I have, hopefully I'll be getting like nerve ablation done again on my back, which is they stick a bunch of needles in your back and just zap the nerves off so you can't feel your facet joints anymore. So hopefully I'm going to get that done again soon. And I was actually chatting before about my doctor's recommended like medicinal cannabis, like the CBD oil. So I'm going to be trialing that to see if that helps with the pain as well.
Yeah, I know a few people on that, and they reckon it's awesome.
Yeah. So like, because at the moment I take like painkillers and muscle relaxants, anti-inflammatories, and sleeping pills to go to sleep.
Yeah, it's no good
and
taking all that.
It's kind of to get off that and just have like the oil drop, and hopefully it helps. So yeah.
So now that you've sort of been through it and you've worked your way out the other side, like, because I think it's important to talk about this. Like, are you aware of when it starts coming up again now? Because that's like, this sounds a bit funny, but like I didn't realize how much my finger would affect me.
Yeah.
Like I like 10 years ago, 12 years ago, like I went through years of being depressed and anxiety and stuff, and I feel like I've been really good for a long time, and I know how to like switch off, or I know when I need time out. And I remember the next day laying in hospital after I'd cut my finger off, and they undid all the bandages and stuff, and I was just sitting there, like, it was wrapped up, but I was like sitting there and just thinking, oh, you know, it's not too bad. I've only lost 30 mil off the end, like it's all good. And then last week, I really went down a bit of a hole, because I went back and saw my specialist. They took all the bandages off, and now I've just got this little tiny cover on there, and I can actually physically see the size of it and use it. And like, even just simple things like getting up in the morning and like going to the bathroom, going to the toilet, washing your hands, splashing your face. And like when I wipe my face now, I don't have my long middle finger.
It feels a bit weird. You're like,
you wipe your face and your long finger rubs your eyebrows, and it's
like poking yourself in the eye instead of doing that.
Well, I'm just like, fuck, like it's not there. Like, and last week I for a couple of days I was really like thinking, fuck, like I've lost a piece of me. And I started really getting a bit depressed about it. And then I was only through having a conversation with Camille, and I'm like, well, look, at the end of the day, it's a bit of finger. Yes, it is what it is. But so do you find now that you've had and been through it, like you do pull yourself up every now and then, or you feel you know when you're sort of going a bit off track again? Yeah,
definitely do. And it's like something that I've improved a lot on over the last year is just like talking to my wife, and like communication between me and her is like infinitely better than it was. So I find that she picks up on when I'm not like in a rut, as well as I can go, oh, I'm not like the way I normally am, and I do things like breathing and I get in the shower and I just sit there in the shower and breathe and stuff like that. And I do notice it now, and I have a bunch of exercises that I do, like from my psychologist and stuff, that I do when I am in a bit of a, like when I'm in a rut, and sometimes it can last like a day, sometimes I'm down for a couple of weeks or something like that, but generally like now I don't let it snowball to a bad point, if
It's
you know what I mean.
important to talk about it, because life's like, I would doubt there's very many people out there, if any, that just are fine all the time. Like, and you see all the shit on social media, and you see all these mentors and speakers and podcasters and stuff, and like just everything's awesome.
Yeah.
And like, that's not reality.
No.
Like, reality is we all fall off the cart every now and then. And I think that's definitely something I'm really proud of now, that I'm aware of it. And like, even like I said at the beginning with, like, I knew if I just went and even if I rested up for a week, I knew that I would just go down a rabbit hole and it'd take me a long time to get out of it. So I think it's very important to be aware of your feelings and know when you do start feeling in a certain way or going down a rabbit hole, that go and, like, talk to people, like, just have a chat.
Yeah.
Because I believe everyone goes through some sort of depression in some sort of form. Like, it's
sure.
It's just life, hey. Like, we've all got a lot to deal with. Doesn't matter what level you're at, whether you're employed or you're on your own business. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, everyone deals with something, like family, friends, kids, money.
There's
like,
always a spanner that gets thrown in the works, and you're like, oh, Jesus, and got to deal with it. And I know.
Yeah, and it's how you flick that switch, isn't it? It's how you deal with it. Like, do you treat it as a problem, or do you find a solution and run with the solution? Like,
I try to think, if there's an issue, first thing I'd think is like, is there something I can do about it? And if there isn't, then I'm like, oh well, it is what it is then. Yeah. You know, so, but if there is something that I can do about it, there's no need to worry about it, because there's something I can do about it. Yeah. You know, so I try to do that anyway. Yeah. But sometimes, like some issues, you're like, they're a problem, and it is what it is. So. Yeah,
you just got to get on with it. Yeah. So, mate, you're pretty passionate now about helping other veterans out. So, like, you're doing a few things, aren't you? Is it a free session you do?
Yeah. So every Tuesday and Thursday mornings at 7:00, I run a little boot camp at Sabi Park here in Warner. For veterans and their partners. So it's just kind of just free. Come along, do a bit of it. It's a half an hour to 45-minute session. Just get you moving and stuff, and I get back into the community, I guess, and get back into fitness. It's like, it's not about smashing people. It's about getting people back into doing PT again. You know what I mean? Because like, I know from my personal experience how beneficial doing PT is for my mental health. And like, I know that I can pass that on to other people and hopefully help other people as well. And so that's why I do that.
Yeah, well, mate, hopefully for anyone listening that lives in, I don't know, Brisbane, Southeast Queensland or whatever, like, reach out, JMW.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so if you're in the Warner area, like in like North Brisbane area, like, every Tuesday and Thursday at 7:00.
Yeah, but on top of that, like, if they want to reach out and do some personal training and stuff. But,
and I do like online as well. So if you just want a program and like check-ins and stuff like that, I can do that too.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. So, like, where do you want to go with it now? Like, you're going to stick on the PT path and just keep doing one-on-ones and a bit of group stuff?
Yeah. So I'm starting uni next semester, starting sport and exercise science, and I want to go into exercise physiology as well, which will, again, primarily, like, the focus will hopefully be injured veterans and stuff like that. So that's what I would really like to get into. So I'm pretty excited about starting uni, but I'm just kind of chomping at the bit to get started. So I've got still a month to wait. So I'm going to be that mature age student that sits at the front of class and asks all the questions.
Were you that kid at school? Like,
No.
it's
It's
unreal
trash
how
at school.
stuff changes, eh? Like, I
Yeah.
wasn't either, but now I'm addicted to it. Like,
Yeah. As I said before, like I loved grade 12 because I got to take a day off school to go to work. I got to drop a subject as well. So I had like, I think one day, like Wednesday or Thursday or something, I had like 2 spares, then lunch, and then 2 spares, and then like 1 class after lunch or something like that. So I was just there. I did woodwork and metalwork and all the easy subjects at school. And
yeah.
I wasn't the academic kind of person at all. And now I'm like getting into it and I'm kind of like, oh, hopefully I can write. Like, I think like getting what's in my head onto a piece of paper will probably be my biggest issue. So hopefully.
It's been funny, hasn't it? I'm a one-finger typer at the best of times, and that was the one thing everyone, like, people would give me shit about. Like, you're going to be even slower in the office now, but I actually think chopping my finger off's made me faster.
Yeah,
So.
Doesn't get in the way. But yeah.
This is another subject that I really love talking about because, like, so many people you talk to weren't interested at school. And it comes back to that, like, school's just built for this one size fits all. Like, go to school, get taught this shit bloody stuff that you get taught. But, like, I'm passionate about what I do now and I love learning. Like, you're passionate about what you do, so that's driving you to be passionate about learning it. So, like, I just think there's got to be a better way for schools to be run. Like, it's got to be more about a passion, doesn't it? Like,
yeah, and I think a lot of schools are trying to go down that path, but it is hard when it's such a like mass, like a lot of people that go through school, and it is hard to kind of cater to everyone.
Yeah, well, you're seeing that now because there's a lot of people homeschooling. There's quite a few schools now around that like are more specialised for that. Like people are breaking away from the normal, which I think is awesome. But so like for people out there that are listening and stuff that like know they need to be doing some exercise but aren't, like what sort of advice can you give them? Like, because it doesn't take much, does it, to get fit?
No, it doesn't take much. Honestly, it takes a plan, like something that you can, even if it's just a piece of paper that says I'm going to go 2 or 3 times a week, do a bit, like just do full body, like do some squats. If you don't have any equipment, some squats, push-ups, planks. If you just do that, you're going to improve your health. You know, right? Go for a walk, like the simplest thing, go for a walk. Start slow, just go for a walk, go for a K, slowly build it up, go for a little bit longer. But it's about like building a good habit, and just like consistency is going to be the biggest thing to improve your fitness and health and everything like that. And I like to think, well, when I'm 70, 80 years old, I don't want to be a slug. You know, so, and the earlier you get onto like doing PT and stuff, and like if it becomes just like a normal thing you do throughout your life, you're going to be thanking yourself when you're 70, 80 years old that you're not so unfit and like, oh, I wish I lost weight when I was younger so that I wasn't dealing with all these health issues now, you know. So
I think it's like through my 30, like, well, yeah, mid 30s, late 30s, like I got to a point where I was like, I'd ache. Like, you do a day on the tools and you just ache all the time because, like, work, I always thought that I was too buggered after work to do anything else. But, yeah, in the last 3 to 4 years, or probably more actually, 5 years, but definitely last 3, just doing that little bit. Like, I go walking with mates 1 morning a week. For a little while there, it got to 2 mornings a week. And then even before I started with you, like I was always doing something, whether it was 20 to 40 push-ups, some sit-ups, just something, like just doing some sort of movement. Like, and I've had a bad back my whole life. Like I was told I'd been in a wheelchair by the time I was 30. But that little bit of movement and exercise just does wonders, eh? Like, I can't encourage it enough, like people to get out there and get off the lounge. And like, would you, I don't know, you might agree with me, but like everybody has time for social media. So like, if you can spend 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, or I tell people with like my training business now for builders, like have a look at your screen time on your phone, and if you're spending half an hour to an hour on social media a day, that's your success.
Yeah.
Like instead of spending that 30 minutes to an hour on social media, spend that 30 minutes to an hour on yourself.
Yeah.
Whether it's exercise or personal development or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because when I exercise, I listen to audiobooks, and I listen to audiobooks whenever I can. And that's like, so sometimes it's like an educational one. Sometimes it's like, at the moment I'm listening to like Warhammer 40K books. So it's all just crazy space war stuff. But yeah, like, or podcasts or something like that. There's a few like particularly with sport, like AFL podcasts and stuff like that. And I've got a couple of, there's one that's about performance, like AFL performance, like strength and conditioning coach. Yeah. So I listen to that a fair bit as well. But yeah, like I do it, like find yourself just like mindlessly scrolling, and then I think everyone does it these days, but yeah,
it's hard
just
not
like
to. Like it's
making that an excuse not to do something isn't,
Yeah, but it's more about the time.
Yeah.
Like if you're, because everyone's number one excuse is I've got no time.
Yeah.
I'm too busy. But yeah, my thing now, like if you just check your social media screen time on your phone, and it's like I've heard something the other day, actually yesterday, I was listening to Ed Milet. Oh no, it was actually a Diary of CEO podcast, and they were talking about some studies. Like apparently the average person now looks at their phone over 2,400 times a day.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me.
Like, and I was like, holy shit, like that is insane. But yeah, when you
just the quick click. Oh yeah, no.
Like it's taken over our lives. So yeah, if you're saying you got no time, you only got to look at your social media time, and if you put half the time you spend into social media into doing some push-ups or a bit of exercise or going for a walk or whatever, or like you say, walking's easier. So like stick your
you don't need anything. You can just do it anywhere.
Yeah, listen to a podcast, smash out an audible book. Like
especially now, weather here is beautiful.
Yeah,
you can go out pretty much any time of day now.
So you obviously like your you mentioned the book you're just reading then, because you like your Star Wars stuff as well. Like you got all your tats with your Star Wars characters.
Yeah,
and
Space Jam and Star Wars. Yeah, love it. Yeah.
So where's that? Like that's just something that's come as you've grown up, or?
Yeah. So I think my decision for Space Jam was when I was down at the trade school. I think me and a couple of mates were just drinking, and we watched Space Jam, and I'm like, oh, that'd be a sick tattoo. And then I was already booked in to get a tattoo, but I didn't know what I was going to get yet. I'm like, stuff it, I'm gonna get Space Jam. And then like Star Wars, I've been a massive Star Wars fan my whole life. So I'm getting all the bad guys on my left leg.
I've never been able to get into it. I don't know.
Yeah, I love fantasy kind of, love Lord of the Rings and stuff like that, and love like sci-fi stuff. So
yeah. So mate, what's like we'll wrap it up in a minute, but I hope people reach out, like if they are in Brisbane or north side of Brisbane and that, and because you're like young business, so hopefully we can get some people behind you and get on board and stuff. And look, for those people that are listening, stay tuned, because I'm going to try and do some stuff with Justin to help the construction industry with exercise and stuff, and some retreats and that. So stay tuned for those. But it's out there now, mate. Like everyone knows that I'm working out, and you're pushing me along. So we're going to have to show them the results, aren't we?
Yeah, we can start taking some videos and stuff if you're getting it. We were going to do some videos the other day, and I was trying to get back to training with my finger and that, but it just didn't really eventuate. But we will need to fix up the lighting in my gym.
But I'm sure we'll get some stuff out there. But yeah, look, I just wanted to get you on, mate, so we can, like, I want to practice what I preach. So, and I'm on a mission to create a new building industry, and a big part of that is the mental health and the exercise. So I really appreciate you coming on and talking a little bit about what you do and how you do it, and dealing with your mental health stuff and that. Like, before we get out of here, like, have you got any advice for anyone out there that thinks they're maybe going through some tough times or struggling a little bit? Like,
Yeah, like honestly, just go talk to someone. Like it's like the same thing everyone says, but just like tell someone that you're like, oh, look, I'm not doing that great, you know, and like it takes a weight off your chest. Because you like internalize things, and it sucks when you're just dealing with things alone. And like if you say, oh, I'm not doing too great, like I guarantee the other person that you're talking to has probably had issues as well. So
have you found that? Have you found that since now that you've sort of realised that the more people you talk to, the more people have had similar things?
Yeah, for sure. Like so many people I know now that have had problems, and I think that's why I try to openly talk about it, because it kind of invites people to talk to me, like open up to me about it. So like I think it has been like beneficial for other people.
Is it big in the army? I'd imagine it'd be huge in the army.
Oh yeah, it is, because people in the army put so much pressure on them. Like that's what I put so much pressure on myself when I was in the army, and that's from like my own, like it was me doing it to myself. So yeah, a lot of people put so much pressure on themselves, and it's like it is a stressful job, and there are like pressures from outside sources as well, like when you're expected to do something.
Can we talk a little bit about the army? Are we allowed to talk about the army?
Yeah.
Are we? I'm sure. I don't know.
It's just like you get a knock on the door from the.
Like I said, I see these trucks and shit driving around. I've always thought, shit, that'd be awesome to go and have a play and muck around with them. But like, what actually happens in the army? Like, is it like you see on shows where you're in dorms and you get woken up and you got to flog your ass all morning?
That's like Kapuka. That's like basic training is like that. So at Kapuka, you'll go there and do. Well, when I went, it was 12 weeks, and it's wake up every morning, got to make your bed, go to the toilet, all that stuff. Like walk around, like say massage to everyone or like whatever, and so very like for 3 months, it's very, very regimented to kind of break you down, and they kind of the idea of Kapuka is like build up people that aren't very confident and kind of like knock down people who are arrogant and overconfident.
Yeah.
But then after that, it's kind of like a normal like 7:30 in the morning to 4 o'clock in the arvo job, while you're on base. And while you're on base, like for me personally, because I was a fitter, like all of our job was maintenance on like the vehicle mechanics and stuff. So vehicles, weapons and all that stuff, and just making sure everything's good to go for field exercises. And generally it's like that middle period, like May to July area, where you'll be up at Rocky or up at high range in Townsville or something like that, like sleeping under a hoochie while it's cold.
So how
getting woken up at midnight to like go stand on picket. You're like,
how often do you have to go out in the field and do that training?
Generally, there's like a couple of like big exercises a year, and it is generally in that like May to July period. I think the longest I went out field was probably about a month and a half straight. But there's a lot of exercises will go for like 2 weeks or something like that. So you'll go out a couple of weeks, come back, refurb, get everything sorted, ready to go for the next field exercise, which might be in a month's time or something like that. But yeah, most of it's just training.
And so what happens when you're out on those field exercises? Like, is it strict? Like you have schedules and up for breakfast? Like everyone's doing it together? Like it's not just dawdle around doing this, doing that? Like
so there'll be like an exercise, there'll be an overarching plan of the exercise, but it depends on how like many people would be involved. But like everyone goes out there basically to do their job. So for me, it would be wake up in the morning, have brekkie, wait to see if there's anything else happening, and then if there isn't, like if there's maintenance to do, we'll do maintenance. If there's not, chill out. Chill out.
A mechanic or a fitter in turn is like, you're only on if there's shit to fix.
Yeah, so. Exactly. So if there's like, and that's the thing, is like, if there's nothing to fix, then that's good, you know, but there's always something to fix. There's always like, especially with the buckets, like there's always a someone that's gotten bogged or stuck in something and needs to get dragged out, and the people do some pretty crazy stuff, and they break a lot of stuff. So we're always like working, and like sometimes like we'd be up at night, like everyone would pack up and everything, and then we'd be up at night fixing everything for the next morning and stuff like that. So
everyone would jump in those big trucks and just think, oh, these things can go anywhere, and just
and some I've seen some trucks like go some crazy places. Like we're watching them like going, oh my god, and like the driver's just like going up these mountains, and you're like, Jesus. But they get there and you're like, cool. And like the driver's like, I never want to do that again, that was sketchy as. I'm like, yeah, I know.
No, well, mate, look, thanks very much for coming in. Look, like I said, reach out to Justin if you want to. If you're on the north side of Brisbane, you want to do some personal PT. Like I said, I've never been a gym person, never really been comfortable doing it, and he's got me out of my comfort zone doing one-on-one and at his place and stuff. So reach out if you want to get involved. But for everybody out there, please. Exercise, breath work, cold showers, all that type of stuff is just so good for you. It really helps with your mental health, your anxiety, and all those types of things. It's worked wonders for me. So as always, thanks very much for listening to this podcast, making this podcast Australia's #1 construction podcast, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Like, subscribe, share, comment, all those types of things, and we'll see you soon.
Are you ready to build smarter, live better, and enjoy life? Then head over to livelifebuild.com/elevate to get started.
Everything discussed during the Level Up podcast with me, Duayne Pearce, is based solely on my own personal experiences and those experiences of my guests. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general information only, and any reliance on the information provided in this podcast is done at your own risk. We recommend that you obtain your own professional advice in respect to the topics discussed during this podcast.